as we are talking about countries and so on, you were also in the Netherlands, and I was there. So you supported Kobra and Lotus plus Butcher Babies. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, how did you end up with this tour, and how did it felt to open for these two big bands?
We have a booking agency, just like maybe any touring band has, and they were organizing this tour, and this is how we ended up supporting these bands. And it was our biggest tour so far, and I guess that we were very nervous before this tour, but since the very first day, like these big bands, they are very kind people, and they don't have like this, attitude of looking from the top down below. I mean, they are very friendly, and they treated us as equals, which is very, like, we were surprised, and we were very, we appreciated it a lot. And I guess that this touring party was working perfectly. I mean, with all the bands, with all the supports, we had 5 bands, which is a lot. And you need to have constant cooperation, because you don't want any delays. You don't want like any problems. There is a lot of gear, a lot of merch. And also like this was the female fronted tour. That's why, sometimes like we could imagine all the problems happening between girls, but it was a perfect tour, and we were really crying when we were splitting and going back home. And I really hope that we will share the stage with Kobra and the Lotus and Butcher Babies and other supporting acts as well. And what can I say else? It was a very a great experience of learning from bigger bands, because when you are watching them, playing a show, it's not the same when you're watching them preparing for the show, just watching them, doing their warm-ups, or maybe, I was watching every show of Kobra and the Lotus and Butcher Babies on tour, and there were like 16 or 17 dates. And I was just learning. I was learning everything that they were doing on stage, because sometimes I noticed that, for example, some of them, they even had certain breaks when they were drinking some water, So it's like, it's another level, absolutely. And I learned a lot from them, and from their stage performances, from our backstage talks, like from everything. And I'm really grateful that they were so open-minded to share everything with us.
It's learning from the best, two amazing headliners. Yeah, I would look forward. That would be an amazing gig here in Dublin again. But I would say 5 bands is too much. I was so wrecked. And then there was a difference in styles, what I was amazed that there was a black metal band in your midst, and I was
but the idea of this tour, it happens every year actually with different lineup, and the idea is simply female fronted metal bands, so it doesn't matter which genre they have. And also this black metal act, Martyrium, they were only for half of the tour. Another half of the tour was a symphonic metal band, Asphodelia from Italy. So, and also the tour that happened last year, we were not part of this tour, but it was, I guess they didn't even have any growls among these bands. So it's different, like from tour to tour.
Yeah, it was like females, I remember, and then everyone on the stage and so on. But I mean, black metal is always a little bit a kind of different stories if you compare to all music.
Not for me, it's okay. I listen to a lot of, well, I'm in Satyricon t-shirt right now.
Okay, nice.
So with black metal then, if we are going, now I'm curious, are you listening then?
A lot of, I love simply mixes of instrumental atmospheric black metal in the background when I'm working. For me, it's like the perfect background, And usually I even don't go for certain bands. I just, hit the mix and I'm just listening to it. But I don't like raw black metal when, absolutely lo-fi, but also it depends on the mood. But I love when black metal is mixed with something else. And I love Satyricon, obviously. I love one of the newest bands, which is Mirkur. It is Danish. Well, but she mixes a lot of things as well. And I know that a lot of black metal heads, they don't think that it is black metal. So I'm not saying anything. It's going to be a war here.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I listen to a lot of things, but for me, really, I'm very bad at remembering the names of the bands and the albums and the band members. I'm like the worst at it. So I mean, I just have like my playlists, and I always I'm open for everything that Spotify is bringing up. So something like that. But again, I really love all the maybe some atmospheric black, symphonic black, post black, so more modern black metal approach than raw black metal that was like the first wave, when it's like only you cannot understand anything that is happening there.
Very interesting list. For me, it's like, well, that's the only genre I just run away. I'm gone. For some reason, for 10 years, I'm listening all my life like metal, but black metal is the only thing I really never got into.
Yeah, depends. But I don't know, Helle, if you know, I would like to recommend you. I think you know, Rotting Christ.
Yeah, of course. They actually played in Kiev also.
Yeah, they played
a lot of times. Yes.
A lot of time in Rosary, yeah. So this is a band that you can listen because they mix stuff and languages also.
Yeah. So they are not pure black metal again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Or Septic Flesh.
Septic Flesh is one of my favorite bands, and they were playing. It was actually the last show that I saw before pandemic in Kiev. They came to Kiev. They did a great show, and yeah, Septic Flesh is also actually one of the inspirations for Ignea as well. But maybe their symphonic parts, their epic music, they are doing a great thing.
Nice to know. And today received I don't know, they did a concert in Mexico with symphonic orchestra.
Yeah.
They received the DVD, so.
Yeah, I know.
So, because we speak about festivals and stuff, what will be your dream festival, and which 4 bands would you take, for 4 days with you?
Do you mean where we would like to play, or?
Yeah, dream festival for you, where you would like to play, and which, let's say it's 4 days, which headliners you would pick?
You mean we as headliners?
Yeah, no. Which headliners you would pick to play in Hellfest with you?
Well, Hellfest is a little bit complicated because it's really a huge festival. I've been there, and it's a Disneyland for metalheads. And they have very different stages, and I mean the size of the stages is also very different, and I don't see Ignea playing main stages. There are 2 main stages. It's I guess that we are not ready for these stages, because also you need to have a huge production crew to make these stages work for you. But there are a couple of stages, I guess they called Altar and Temple, and I would love to play there. As for the headliners, I would say maybe Septic Flesh, Amorphis, maybe Lacuna Coil, but they would be on the main stage as already, So it's a complicated question, and also Hellfest mixes a lot of bands and a lot of genres, so it's hard to tell. But I mean, Hellfest, it's my goal, it's my dream, And I know that it's not the biggest festival, you know, because a lot of metalheads, they are dreaming about Wacken, Germany. But for me, Hellfest is like my top dream.
And 70,000.
And I would love to share stage with Gojira.
Oh,
But I mean, again, we saw them at Hellfest, and they were on the main stage. And it was very interesting because Gojira is a French band, and when they were playing on Hellfest, everybody came to this stage, like everybody. And the Hellfest is in France. And I also remember people that are working at the festival. I mean, they sell you some drinks and merch. They left all their working places and they came to watch Gojira because, like, it's there, you know. It's an insanely great band. Although what's really interesting, they don't have a lot of production going on stage. They don't wear any massive outfits or something like that. They're just pure music and energy, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's like a big band. Like when I moved to Ireland, I heard Gojira. Gojira, it's like a popular band even here.
It's everywhere. I mean, right now they are already world known, and they moved to the United States, I guess. So they are already on an absolutely different level, and I'm very happy for them because they are deserving it.
Interesting. So back to Ignea. So you have toured in many countries. So I'm wondering, which is your favorite one, and which country would you like to add?
Well, usually it doesn't depend on the country, but it depends on the venue and on the club. But I can say that statistically, the best shows are in Germany. Because there are a lot of metalheads out there. They're very supportive, but at the same time, when you are playing for them, usually they are very calm. I mean, they're always like standing and listening. So, I mean, they are not very expressive compared to people from Spain, for example, you know, because in Spain, they are very, the hospitality is above the level. They are very, you know, they're moshing, they're slamming and all the things. Germany, you just know that everything is going to be all right with everything, and that you just have stability in Germany. France is awesome in terms of playing as well, because the hospitality is good as well. When you are traveling through France, it's very beautiful, and there are also a lot of metalheads there, and maybe also that's why Hellfest is such a huge festival. And for me, it was a surprise. Netherlands, we played there a couple of times, and it was one of the best shows, but it's like it was only a couple of times, and they were almost always sold out. What else can I say? Switzerland is very strange because we played there a couple of times, and one show it was absolutely packed and people were moshing and everything, and another show with the same lineup, it was like people were just standing and they were chilling, and you know, like people were from absolutely different countries, although they were from another country. So yeah, something like that. And Denmark has the best backstages.
Why?
I don't know why, but we played there a couple of times, and even if you are a small band, you are feeling yourself a rock star, because they are making all the conditions for you at the backstage to make you comfortable. And they always have this, you know, huge approach. I mean, they even put you some candles, like to make you comfortable.
Very nice.
And what's the...
And you know, like I said, Germany is great in terms of shows, but sometimes their venues are absolutely undergroundish, and sometimes, you know, you are just walking to the stage and your shoes are sticking to the floor because of all the beer that was before that. But it's not a bad thing. It's just like it is. They have a more punk approach, I'd say, and it's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, another thing.
And what was your opinion of Dutch.
Is away again.
Yes. Yeah, because he's from Netherlands. So.
Yes.
I'm back. So
Yeah, it was one of the greatest shows as well, and the crowds were great. And I know that we have a lot of listeners from the Netherlands. I mean, we ship quite a lot of merch there, so I don't know. I love the Netherlands. I love it as a country, and I love people from the Netherlands. We also have many patrons from the Netherlands, so.
I can imagine, because it's a small country, but with a lot of people, with a lot of venues for opportunities.
Yeah.
And so, what country would you like to add in the future?
United Kingdom for sure, because we were trying to reach this country for a very long time, and it is one of the top markets for us in terms of listeners. But it's all complicated, like with all these visas and crossing borders, even before the pandemic, and now I even don't know.
More difficult.
Yes, but I'd love to play there. And what else? Actually, in the north, we were only playing in Denmark, but I'd love to play Finland. And we actually have 2 shows planned for December in Finland. These are our headliner shows. I don't know if they're going to happen. Most likely they will be postponed, because I don't believe that the borders will be open until then. But it's actually like December 16th. Who knows?
Okay.
We don't know. But even if they don't happen this year, they will be postponed. I also want to play Sweden, Norway. So maybe the countries of the Baltic, like we played Lithuania once, but I'd like to play Estonia as well. So
A lot of countries.
because like in the Central Europe and in the South, we already played all the countries. But I'd love to come back again.
You have any fan base from Greece?
I don't think that it's a big one, but maybe because we didn't.
Maybe from today you will have some.
Okay.
We have a lot of Greece here.
We have Greeks.
Awesome.
And what about Dublin?
We have some listeners from Ireland. Yeah, so I mean,
Awesome.
you know, if we come to the United Kingdom, I'm sure we'll do something in Ireland as well, because we will be closer,
Yes.
Ireland. So
Yeah, that would be amazing.
we would love to play there.
Only if you tour to United Kingdom, it
makes.
Come to Ireland or Scotland.
Or do a tour in Ireland, like Cork, Dublin, like see what Ireland is.
I'm ready for everything, but it's really complicated, because the scene of the touring in the United Kingdom and Ireland is one of the most complicated things to do. Not only in terms of visas, but also in terms of conditions for the bands. It's an absolutely, even though we seem to be in Europe, we all seem to be in Europe, but it's working differently there.
Yeah, I can imagine that's the reason, like a lot of bands like skip Dublin.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I'd love to.
That would be nice, to see you here.
Yeah. Really nice.
So, Helle, which song, because we did some covers, as we mentioned before, which cover you would like to do and you didn't yet? And you did the cover like from a band Ultra Serif?
You mean with Ignea?
Yeah.
I don't know, because every time we come up with these covers, we hear the song and we think we will cover it. So we don't plan to do any covers necessarily. I don't think, but we have some kind of a rule for our covers. We don't cover metal bands, and we don't cover like metal bands with female vocals, because it's almost impossible to make a different version of this song. So and it's not that interesting. So I mean, all the people who are asking us to cover Lacuna Coil, Arch Enemy, Within Temptation, it's not going to happen. Yeah, I do sometimes. I cover, like, again for Patreon, I do some acoustic versions of female fronted metal bands, but it's more an entertainment and for fun for me and for patrons. But as an official release, we won't be doing it.
Yeah, so you want to make non-metal bands.
Yes, because it's very interesting to transform non-metal into metal, and there is a lot more space for your imagination to do it. And you actually create sometimes an absolutely different song.
Great.
Right. So now to something else. Well, Ignea, you are using a lot of social media. So I'm wondering, how do you think that the way fans communicate with bands has changed over the years, and what the future may hold?
Well, I can say that we started already in the times when social media were a super important thing to do. So I know the days back then when people were buying magazines, and they were buying, they were learning about the bands from the record stores, because I was learning about the bands the same way. But when we started Ignea, we already had all this. We already didn't get into the era of MySpace, so for us, didn't work. We already started with YouTube and Facebook and everything. Then Instagram became more popular. So I do it a lot. And I guess that this is one of the keys to the success, like, of the growth of our bands. So we wouldn't be able to grow and to gain so many listeners without social media. And I also started a YouTube channel about like promoting DIY bands and speaking about like everything that bands, unsigned bands do. And with other bands, we talk about social media, what they are using. And I mean, everybody says the same, that if you're not on social media, if you're not active there right now, you're not existing as a band. Of course, I'm not speaking about well-known bands that have been playing for 20 years. For them, it doesn't matter. But for all the young bands, I mean, if you're not using social media, you're just losing a lot of new listeners that could listen to your music, that could discover you. And also, I know bands that say that they don't want to do it, that it takes a lot of time, and I agree. And I also think that not all the bands should do it themselves, but they can find some people that can help them to produce all this content. There are a lot of social media workers right now and specialists. It's not a problem nowadays. And I know also sometimes, almost always band members, they have their loved ones that can help them to do it.
I think it's the mindset that needs to be changed, or it's like hard if you are doing like for many years without social media and suddenly it comes up, it's like something new.
I don't know, but because there are a lot of bands who are 20 years, 25 years right now. I mean, the band members are 20 years old, so obviously they've been always with social media. Mm-hmm. But it's super hard to produce this content all the time, and you have to be very continuous with that. And it's very easy when you are touring or when you're releasing something, and you have everything to post every day. So sometimes I make content plans for 1 month, and everything is all right. But when nothing is happening, it's the worst part, because you already posted all the photos, all the videos, all the music, you did all the polls, and you're stuck. And this is the hardest part. So that's why what I'm trying to do right now is to think ahead of time. And actually, I know that big labels and big bands, they have plans outlined for a couple of years ahead of them, because they know where they're going to play, what they're going to release, and all the things. And even if you are an unsigned band, you can do it as well. Just sit down and write the strategy, because once you start treating your band as a business, it will change for you. And I always say that there is no problem with staying authentic and playing the music that you like, not make your music commercial, but you won't survive as a band if you don't make money as a band. And I don't mean like making profit out of it. At least you have to make enough money to invest in this band and at least to record your music. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Fair point.
Yeah, social media these days are very important for the bands. Yeah.
Yes.
Like 8 hours work or more work. And you need someone to help. So, as you mentioned before, non-metal bands, do you have any favorites?
Non-metal bands?
Yeah, non-metal bands, like, yeah.
I like, my taste is always changing, and music depends always on my mood. So sometimes I can listen to electronic bands, I can listen to pop singers, but there are some bands. For example, I love Chelsea Wolfe a lot. She doesn't play metal, so it's like more, I don't know, maybe rock, but it's hard to define her genre, but it's not metal for sure. I love Radiohead.
Okay.
I love Lady Gaga. I love her a lot. Not the latest album, but I love her. Who else?
You're a fan also of Lady Gaga.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Now I'm like very poked. So you don't like Chromatica?
No,
It's too poppy?
I don't know. It's I just don't feel this album. This album doesn't have any strengths to me. But her previous album, Joanne, it's maybe
That
the
was good.
least Lady Gaga that she ever has made. But it's such a wonderful album, and I was re-listening to it so many times. And I guess that a lot of people will love this album because it's not that pop. I mean, it's more.
Country.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But I also love her, like, hits like Bad Romance and all the things, because these are
Alejandro, yeah.
really awesome songs. They are awesome. And I understand why she became, and I love her as a personality. There is a documentary with her on Netflix, and I really recommend watching it. And she is great live as well. She has a wonderful voice. And I mean, the ability to dance and sing like that, it's very cool. And she's also a songwriter. So, I mean, as a personality, she appeals to me a lot. That's why, maybe a lot of people are shocked when I say that I love her, but I mean, I really do. She does great music. She is great, as a brand and everything. And she's a great personality as well.
And what about A Star is Born, where she acted as well?
I watched this movie. Well, I don't think that she's like, a great actress or something like that, but she wrote the soundtrack to the whole movie. And it's a huge job to do. And I think that, well, I love this movie because I love movies about musicians and, backstage stuff and all the things. That's why I loved it. But I don't think that it's, a great movie that you should watch in any case.
I recommend it. It's my favorite movie.
Well, it's good. It's really good. I mean,
And yeah, it came with a nice soundtrack. I just went out of the cinema and I just got the whole soundtrack. I was really amazed, especially Bradley Cooper singing. He never did it, so I was like,
yeah,
whoa.
yeah. I watched some interviews of Lady Gaga, and she said that she was really amazed when he came to her with the idea of this movie. And when she heard him singing, she was really shocked that he had this voice. It's really cool.
So I'm giving the microphone to Nick. Bring some metal back.
Cool. So, weird things, huh?
Yes, so all our questions are done. So now we have our viewers' questions.
Yes.
So for the viewers who are watching, last chance to ask your questions. So we start first with a compliment from Matt Watterson. And he's saying, Helle's voice is absolutely amazing. It gives me goosebumps. Happy smiley.
Hello, Matt. He's actually one of our patrons and most active listeners, and we communicate a lot. And he's also bringing our music to the Australian listeners, which we are very grateful for.
Amazing.
Great.
And then Caroline Clark, she's asking, are you vocally trained or self-taught? And she's sending heart.
She's also our patron. And well, mostly I'm self-taught. But again, I had some vocal lessons. And I hope that I will take more vocal lessons soon as well. Because you can never stop learning. And even if you take like big vocalists right now in the metal scene, usually they do have some metal coaches, some voice coaches as well.
Caroline asked again, we spoke about the languages you speak. Which one you would like to learn after?
After Norwegian, because right now I don't know when I finish learning it. I'm only at the beginning. I don't know. Actually, I would love to learn some other language that doesn't have Latin words, Latin letters. But I still don't know which one. Maybe it can be Arabic, maybe Japanese. I don't know. It's
okay.
Like my music taste is changing, like my taste for languages changes as well. So we'll see. But maybe Japanese, because it's not only other words and letters. They think in an absolutely different way, and their words are built differently. And I guess that learning Japanese will just, make your brain think a lot more.
Yeah. I start once because they have like a wellness time in my work to learn languages, and I start once Japanese, but I left because like we have like 3 different dialects, and it's like a mess.
Well, every country has a lot of dialects, and even Norwegian language, they have 2 official languages, 2 official Norwegian languages in their country. So, it shouldn't stop you from learning a language. At least learn something, at least one, and then it will be easier.
For me, would be maybe you can start to learn Irish, Gaelic.
Actually, I was thinking about that as well. About Gaelic language. Well, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think that it's not a good idea to be learning a lot of languages at once, because it will be a mess. It's already a mess in my head, because sometimes when I start speaking German, I already start inserting Norwegian words there. So it's not the best thing to do.
But if you learn like Gaelic, Irish, you can be your tour guide here, because I think none of us understand what Irish. We hear talking in Irish to people, and we will be standing and like, what's happening there? So, another question, hopefully it doesn't cut. So, Hugo Prudente is asking, any plans to visit South America and here Ireland when tours are allowed to happen?
Yeah, of course. It's just, again, South America is also complicated because it's overseas. It's a bit easier than the United States, but I mean, once we have the opportunity, of course, we will come there because I heard from all the bands that the crowds there are one of the best and people are very responsive, and I would love to. And I've never been there as a tourist as well, so.
Yeah, cool. Matt asking if you know any Australian bands, artists or bands.
Actually
You
not.
listen. No?
Actually not. And I saw this question online as well, and now I guess I have to I have to
Yes.
find out. Or maybe I know some bands, but I don't know that they are from Australia. I guess that this is most likely the situation.
You know any bands from Australia? No, you don't know, eh?
Australia?
Yeah. You know Parkway Drive?
Australian is AC/DC, right? And the Airborne.
Yeah.
Are they from Australia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know some bands. Okay.
Parkway Drive? You know Parkway Drive?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you see, just like I said,
Yeah.
I am very bad at band names, band countries. It's like
Matt can teach you more because we don't know them.
yes.
Caroline Clark is asking, have you seen Satyricon live? They are incredible. Well, in Heart Smiley and Devil Horse.
I would love to see them live. And I was supposed to, like last year, we played one Portuguese festival, Vagos, and they played there as well, but they were playing on another day. And I was very sad about it because I really wanted to see them live. But at that day, we were playing in Spain somewhere, our show. That's why it's still on my list.
They played here in Dublin a few years ago, I think. We have seen them. They were great, yeah. Very good fun. And Hugo asked if you would support a black metal band. Which band would be?
A black metal band?
Yeah, if you had to support a black metal band.
I guess people wouldn't understand our music in this case, but our first tour was with a thrash metal band and a couple of death metal bands.
Okay.
And we were the lightest music in this lineup. And maybe because we mostly toured Germany and Netherlands, people were more open-minded, and every evening people came to the merch table and they said, okay, I don't normally listen to such music, but I loved what you played. So I don't think that we are going to be, in one lineup with a black metal band. It's just, it doesn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense for both of our bands.
Yeah, but we've seen some tours like, different bands from different genres. So
yeah, maybe if it is a festival, it's always working like that. It's absolutely no problem, and they can even stand one after each other. It's even great because it is attracting a lot of people together. But if these are two bands, then it doesn't make sense for them to tour together.
Yeah, like you said, Mirkur, if I pronounce okay. You say it's like Mirkur.
Yeah, Mirkur.
Yeah, you say it's a black metal.
Well, but again, she is saying that she is not exactly doing black metal because she mixes a lot of maybe black metal rhythms, but then she has a lot of folk, like Danish folk elements, a lot of folk instruments, sometimes symphonic, she mixes a lot of things. That's why, and she also I hate this phrase, but she is also a female-fronted metal band, and unfortunately, this phrase and this combo, it works for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. That's why it will be working for us, of course, and I would love to tour with her because I've seen her live 3 times. We were playing at one festival once in Lithuania.
Yeah, singer here also in Dublin. Yeah.
Yeah, but we couldn't speak to her because we were on different stages and all the things, but I'm really a huge fan of her.
But I can't remember what was the support. I think it was something different. Something completely, like you said, two different genres.
Well, it depends.
Yeah, I'm going to check. It's, it was with Epica.
Yeah, you see, it's not that much different. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe the genres are, but it's still metal and metal, melodic metal and melodic metal, female fronted, female fronted.
And Oceans of Slumber. I don't know if you know them.
Who?
Oceans of Slumber.
Yeah, actually, one of the bands that I recently discovered. They are really a very unique band, I would say. And again, they are female fronted.
Yes.
I'm just trying to explain to you how these lineups are built and why it is happening, because the main idea is to sell more tickets. This is how it works. And it's not because they are female fronted, it's just one direction and one audience. It would be like the same for, I don't know, like brutal death metal in the same package. It's like also the same direction.
Cool.
Nice.
So, Joa Victor Alves Martins has the following question: Do you know some band? Do you know some band black metal Brazilian?
We have a lot of black metal.
Yeah. Again, I'm very bad at bands and countries. From Brazil, I know Nervosa from Brazil, but they are thrash metal.
Yes.
Again, I'm sure that I know, but I just don't know that they are from Brazil.
I think your fans discovered that you are really bad with countries and so on, and now they are testing you.
It's meaningless. I'm really bad. I admit it.
I think you need a map with bands and stick them. This band is from this, and then it's easier to answer this kind of question.
You know, the answer is very simple. I never judge anyone by the geographical location. And for me, it really doesn't matter where this band comes from. So I really listen to music. That's it.
Amazing. So we are at the end of the interview. So we want to thank all viewers who watched together, and for those who got up in the morning, and and then also for engaging for the questions, participating, and in case you missed some bits or you fell asleep, the video will be in 2 weeks' time on our YouTube channel, so you can rewatch it. So subscribe to be there. We just provided a link, and most important of all, we want to thank Helle for the interview, and we will provide also all the links where you can buy all what we showed, the store book, the album, and so on. So I'm passing the microphone to Helle.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for inviting me for this interview. It was really a cool talk. I guess it was a perfect Friday conversation. Yes, and I also thank all the people who were watching this. And I guess that there will be some more people watching, over the weekend, because Fridays are for parties and concerts and going out.
Yes,
and I wish you guys success with your project, and I hope that you will have a lot more cool interviews happening in the nearest time. And I hope that we will meet in Dublin at our show someday.
Or somewhere else.
Or yes.
Yeah, when we are free.
Yeah, I would like to thank also the viewers, and of course you, Helle, for your time. We had a very great time with you. We hope to see you soon live.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, headbanging.
Yes.
But for now, we have the rounds of that to enjoy and listening.
Yeah.
Art book you like.
EP album and the first album.
The
Yeah.
first? Ah, yeah.
So yeah, that's all. So thank you for everyone for watching. See you and have a good night. Enjoy the weekend. Bye.
Bye.